All right, godlings, conspiracy theory time. Definitely conspiracy theory time. Okay, if you're not into conspiracies and you think I'm a nut job, nutbag, whatever, okay, the door's that way. Get out. Go. See ya. Don't want to listen to it. You don't want to listen to this, okay? Conspiracy theory time, okay? Chemtrails, right? Now, there's a few things with this, okay? Now, I can't tell you for sure exactly what all that bullshit is, but I know it wasn't going on when I was a kid, okay? For one. Now, for two, people are talking about, why would people do that? Why would they be doing that? How could so many people not know? Okay, there's a lot of reasons, okay? There's people that are trying to get information out. Many tried, many died, okay? So what we're seeing is a long chain of events where people are trying to get this information out, and enough is getting out now, of course. But there's patents, okay? There's patents online that you can look up for weather modification. Okay. Yeah, I know people say, well, that doesn't mean they're actually using it. No, maybe not, right? But let me tell you something. The government doesn't put a shit ton of time and money into something and not do anything with it. Let me tell you, okay? Anything the government does, they're using somehow. How? I don't know. I couldn't really tell you all that part, but we'll get into more of that, okay? They do have weather modification pads. Weather modification is not difficult work, people. Okay, they looked at a volcano, saw it spew up, and they saw it started raining over somewhere else. So it's science. It's science. Oh my God, science. All you have to do is go look at it, see what happens, measure the dust and shit like that, and recreate it. It's easy. Okay, it's physics, so you can do this in a lab and then do it in large elsewhere, right? Okay, so the other thing is there's something called weather derivatives in the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, right? You're gonna have to go look this up. It's been a long time since I looked it up, but there's weather derivatives, okay? And it's weird how it's phrased. And the long and short, when I'm reading this, I'm like, it's like insurance for crops. If it doesn't get enough rain, it doesn't grow or something like that. Now, it's kind of worded in this weird way where, to me, it's almost like, like the mafia, right? You pay me Guido, and I make sure your crops get rain, And I know people think it's crazy. No, that ain't true. But now you look at Monsanto. Okay, Monsanto started what's called the Climate Corporation. I wonder what that's all about. And then you got their GMO crap, okay? There's two things. Now, the pilot, people say, oh, you're blaming the pilots. And maybe, I don't know. But see, here's the thing. Okay, there was a lot of people involved in the Manhattan Project. If you don't know what that is, go look it up. There was a shit ton of people involved with the Manhattan Project, okay? The atomic bomb. But in that time, people needed work. I need to go to work. I need to make money. I need to feed my family, okay? So they do. And here's the thing. When you work for a corporation, stuff like that, you sign that you're not going to spill their secrets, okay? And you get fired. They'll run you through the ringer and put you in jail. And I think in some instances it's death, but I'm not positive about all that. But I think in some instances, maybe that's extreme, but you never know. Anywho, but you sign that and you will not spill their secrets. Now, that's if you know any. I mean, most of it's compartmentalized. Right? So you have someone over here working on one thing, and a lot of them had no clue. They were told not to talk to each other, not to talk about it, right? So you have all these people doing different things, and it's all compartmentalized, and someone else puts it together, and then someone else does something different, and they really don't know what's going on. Now, someone later on, they did know, and it hurt them badly. They didn't know until years later, and they felt so freaking horrible. I've heard stories about that. People on their deathbed are like, I don't want to be forgiven for what I done. And it really wasn't their fault. I mean, they had to feed their family. See, that's where they get you. You got to feed your family. Now, here's the other thing. How can so many people know? Well, like I said, many tried, many died. Now, there's many ways to do this, right? People need to feed their families. So, monetary. Now, if that doesn't work, they can just plain bribe you. You might know, but and people think maybe the pilots aren't human, okay? I know everybody thinks we're the only ones on this fucking planet, but we aren't, okay? But let's say they are human. Now, there's some sick fuckers out there, okay? There's some sick individuals that would have no problem throwing you under the bus for a few bucks, okay? They'd probably do it for free, just for shits and giggles. Throwing a house for them? Hey, yeah, I'm gold, man. I'll do 5 of those fuckers at a time. Seriously, man. So, and maybe they just indoctrinated enough where they think they're doing the right thing. Maybe it is the right thing. I don't know. But now there's a few things that I've heard about it. I don't know if it's true, but you can look it up online. But they're talking about like aluminum and barium. Barium is one that was supposedly in it. Now, barium allows you to see through things, right? They use it in hospitals, right? They inject you with barium. They do the radioactive stuff so they can see through your body. That's one thing, right? I mean, it's sci-fi, man. Yeah, well, it's here. Okay, it's here. They have nanotechnology. They've had nanotech for a while now. Okay, and you think they wouldn't use it on us? Oh no, our government wouldn't do that. There's plenty of instances where they have, and they will, and they do. Okay, so here's the other thing. The other thing I found: desiccated red blood cells. I'm like, what the hell do they use that for? What's that? Desiccated red blood cells. The only thing I can think of is like War of the Worlds where it's spraying all the blood, right? So I looked it up. I was curious. So I looked up what do they use desiccated red blood cells for? They use it to splice DNA. Think about that, right? Okay, so all that out of the way, right? Now there's plenty of patents, and the military's working on this stuff, and I see it. It's the skies are much darker and grayer now. Suppose they're covering something up. Some people say they're dropping stuff so it goes into our bodies and it's killing us slowly. I don't know any of that part. I just look at little things and I say, okay, well that's that and that's that and that's that, right? But yes, so okay, so if you can find the right individuals they'll just do it. They don't care. They don't give two shits about anybody else, so they'll just do it for money or even for free. But they usually give them some money. But if that doesn't work, and you find out, and you want to spill the beans, well, we'll kill your wife and kids if you don't keep your mouth shut, or we'll kill you, right? Or we'll lock you up or something. So there's all sorts of levels of threats and liabilities go on, man. And we don't know that shit. It's just like, when you work for, like, okay, so let me, here's an instance. I used to work for a fiber optic company once upon a time, right? Didn't work for very, very long. I don't know what the hell we were doing. I had absolutely no clue. And if I had asked, they probably wouldn't have told me because it was above my pay grade to not know, right? Mostly, we're just putting these little things together. For all I freaking know, it could have went into a military weapon and went overseas and killed somebody or bunches of people. I wouldn't know that at all. I just wouldn't. I would have no way of knowing. Maybe one day, years later down the road, I might. I don't know. Maybe it went to some other thing that it's innocuous and it's not a big deal. But I wouldn't know either way. They don't pay me to know that, right? And even if I had asked, they probably would have gave me some nebulous answer, or just got rid of me somehow. You don't need to know too much here, pal. We just want you to do this and shut up. That's the way it goes. So, but there's people out there that know a whole lot more about that than I do, okay? But let me tell you something. The government, everybody, I don't know why everybody trusts the government still, and why they think the government wouldn't do that to us. And you have to realize that, it's not just humans on this planet, for one, okay? It's not. And they've been around for a long, long, long freaking time. Okay, that's number one. Now, the other thing is that the government, you can look this up online. All this stuff is up online, right? Now, the government does all sorts of funky stuff. They've experimented with ESP, remote viewing. It's all online. And now, maybe sometimes they didn't learn a whole lot. But don't tell me they didn't learn anything. I mean, the government doesn't put a shit ton of money and manpower behind it for nothing. I know this. I used to work for the Army. Okay? And I know how they operate. So we have technology, and then when we improve on it, we sell our old technology to other countries, and then we go to war with them. That's a true story, man. And there are other places, and they do this. This is common knowledge. Okay, you can look it up online. How many times the USA has sponsored coups in other countries? Okay, and we've provided them the money, like we're doing now. Oh, geez. Or we just have the war ourselves. We sell them our old technology and we go to war with them. So I don't think people really, really get it. Because, I mean, you wouldn't believe all these psychological experiments they were performing on humans in the 50s and 60s and even in the 70s and 80s. They're probably still doing it now today. You just don't hear about it as much because they got to keep it hush-hush. They're supposed to, right? But man, let me tell you, man, there's a whole lot more that I don't know that I'm trying to research and find out for myself, but that's just a little bit of it, okay? That's just a little bit of what I know. Now, you got to think about this critically, okay? You know, the government isn't working for us, okay? I'm going to tell you that right now. The government is not working for us. They're not working for us. We are their enemy. And as evidenced after 9/11, the Patriot Act, that makes you, me, and everybody a threat. That's true story, okay? And there's all sorts of stuff that's, you know, if you look it up, you got to go look at it, okay? You can't just take my word for it. But that's what I've done. I went and did the research and I looked it up and I read, cross-referenced if I could, tried to. But I had to go do the reading. I had to go find it, you know, and find little things and follow the crumb trails, you know. And everybody says, oh, where's the proof? Where's the proof? Where's the proof? And then you show it to them, and they say, oh, it doesn't mean anything. It's like, well, would you ask me for proof then? You know, come on, man. And it's like, it's all, you know, it's not my job to do your fucking homework for one. You know, it's like, I did the homework. You can go do it, you know? So I tell everybody, don't take my word for it. Anything I've told you, I've looked it up online. You can find it on all sorts of military sites, government sites, all that stuff, man. It's not difficult work, especially with the internet nowadays, all right? There's other ways they tell us, too. And everybody says, oh, it's safe, you know? And like, oh, The Simpsons are predictions. They're not predictions. They're fucking blueprints. They're plans. They're telling you. They're throwing it right in your face. What we're dealing with is a narcissistic system. And narcissists give two shits about you, okay? Remember that. Now, we're headed for some shit. I can see that. Years and years ago, I was talking with this lady. I think she was from the Ukraine. But she said, I want to talk to you. She's an older lady. And she said, I want to talk to you. I was at the animal shelter. And she said, what's going on in this country now? She said, I don't like it. I says, I get it. It's like pre-Nazi Germany, right? And she says, she just nodded her head. And it is. It's getting more and more like that every day. We're losing our freedoms. Now, in pre-Nazi Germany, they had gay rights, they had freedom of speech and stuff like that. Look what's happening now. We're losing our free speech left and right. And like not too long ago, we had to have papers for our vaccines. We had to have papers to go anywhere. What does that remind you of? You know? And it's slowly coming down the pipe, man. You know, this 5G towers, we have 3 of them. Just from my house, there's 3 of them. You go that direction, it's a mile. You go that direction, there's a mile. One up there and a mile. And this isn't a big town, man. This is a small freaking town. Not many people. It's not really large geographically. So what the hell do they need all those in a small area for, right? I thought that's where we were launching satellites up into space for anyway. You know? Oh, well, they beam it up there and then they beam it down there and it's got to go. No, bullshit. That's backwards shit. That's backwards. So we're going to go backwards. Man, I tell you what, man, people need to start opening their eyes. At least just kind of keep your mind open. And nobody wants to do that. Everybody wants to, you know, it's like if you talk some people just want to shut their minds down. And I know we're programmed to do that mostly, unless you can really break free from some of the programming. But, man, just because you open your mind doesn't mean you have to believe anything. Everybody, wait, yeah, you believe that? You believe that? Man. You don't have to believe anything, all right? Keep an open mind. Just look at it. You don't have to make a decision on whether you believe something or not. Just like, okay, all right. You know, it's interesting. You know, it's just like, you know, you don't have to make up your mind on whether you think a shark is evil or not. You know, it just is what it is, you know. I mean, you know, and you can look at it and say, oh, I just avoid that, you know, so, you know. But come on, man, you don't have to throw the baby out with the bathwater, people, you know. And you can still wonder, you can still think and wonder and be creative in your head and not put any value on it. You don't have to bet your life on anything, okay? But it's funny how people just want to shut people down. Yeah, you're conspiracy theorists and shit like that. It's like, okay, let's say it's all wrong. Nothing's going on. They're not doing anything wrong. And everybody lives and no one's hurt. Great. Great. That's awesome. I'll be a crazy motherfucker, but I'll be happy because people are alive to talk about it and they can say I'm crazy for it. But I'll admit it. I was like, man, I got taken in. I don't know what happened, but they're telling me this crap and I bought it hook, line, and sinker, man. I'm a sucker. I would love to be able to say that. I would love to be able to say that.